Damn it all, I muttered under my breath. I knew I should have brought my Abra. I slowed my pace, constantly checking my sides, grass to my left and grass to my right. Once more I cursed the darkness. I looked behind me. My majestic Mightyena I had been training for years looked formidable and fearless. "Toran," I said lowly, "how are you holding up back there?" The fearless Pokemon looked up at me and let out a confirming growl. Of course, I thought. When is he ever scared? I stopped dead in my tracks, facing the grass to my right. Toran approached my side, crouching low, the fur on his back furled, and he bared his fangs. The tall grass rustled slightly and stopped. The wind howled in my ear, and I chuckled. It's just the wind. But as I finished my sentence, Toran growled louder and arched his back even more. Something wrong? As I spoke, he bolted, dashing head-on into the grass. Calling out to him, I followed. I could see the slight path his slender body made, but no clear vision of Toran himself. A force of air blew behind me, sending shivers down my spine. Picking up the pace, I followed my pal's tracks into a clearing. There I noticed Toran in a center, hopping back and for covering all flanks. My entrance must have startled him, for he lunged at me with all his might. Upon impact, he made me grab for my neck before stopping. "Toran?" I said shakily. Never had I been this close to being mauled by a Pokemon, let alone my own prized one. Toran grabbed my collar and eased me up into a sitting position. The moonlight glinted off his fur, which was damp and gleaming. I looked at my body, noticing the same dampness. The dew. I thought and chuckled, easing myself to my feet. My Mightyena seemed restless as I walked to the center of the clearing. I called him over, and upon further inspection, I noticed a few deep lacerations around his sides. I gently rubbed my finger across his wounds. His wince startled me, but Toran stayed still. "Hold on, buddy," I said calmly, pulling a potion out of my backpack. Slowly, I sprayed the potion on his wounds and gently massaged in the remedy into his wounds. He continued to flinch from pain, but endured it. I gave him a pat on his head and a scratch behind his ears when I was finished. "We should hurry up and get you to a Pokemon Center." He seemed to nod in agreement. As we approached our entrance to the clearing, I was rushed by the wind and knocked to the ground. What seemed like all around us was a garbled cry. Toran tugged at my pant leg and ushered me into the clearing once again. Sensing immediate danger, Toran used Howl. His body seemed to grow with an increase of adrenaline in his body. The grass rustled all around us, every direction. Toran was low to the ground, but suddenly jumped in the air. His jaw extended, and he crunched down hard on the air. Before he could land, Toran was launched back to my feet. He struggled to get back on his feet as blood dripped down from his underbelly. I reached out with another potion. Before I could get close, he pounced again. He arched his back and let out an intimidating howl. He pulled his head to the air, and swirls of darkness began to form a ball in massive jaw. The ball increased in size, drawing from the moonlight and the darkness the grass provided. With a twitch of his head, he flung the massive shadow ball into the grass. The shadow ball erupted darkness all around us. I had lost sight of Toran, and all I could hear was his extreme panting. I could see faint movements as the attacking creature made several swipes at Toran, knocking him to the ground. His murky shadow shifted and attacked with his ferocious fangs. A bone-cracking crunch was heard, but the creature was relentless. Its speed was too overwhelming for my friend. The sound of cutting air and fatal wounds filled the air. Then silence. The sounds of battle seemed to ease, and movement was no longer heard. "Toran! Where are you, buddy?" I said with a deep fear. Again, the intense garbled cry resonated within my ears, and then silence. I couldn't hear Toran's breathing, the wind, none of it. And then I heard it, a whimper. "Toran?" I said lowly. No response. Only the gut-wrenching sound of torn flesh. The sound sickened me. I bent over in overwhelming fear, sadness, and pain. As I looked up, the darkness began to fade. The moonlight cut through the opaque darkness, making it almost transparent. There I saw the shredded body of my beloved Toran, and silhouetted behind him was a tall, scythed figure. I yelled out in tears, "Why?" But the figure didn't budge. I wiped the tears from my eyes, and the figure was gone. I crawled slowly over to the mangled body of my beloved friend. I wept over his body for what seemed like hours, and as the sun rose, I caught a glimpse of the assailant. A scyther, drenched in the sanguine liquid of my friend, letting out a bloodlust cry. It flitted off into the distance. I still visit the clearing these days. I visit the tombstone I had placed there in loving memory. Toran, the Mightyena, friend and loyal Pokemon, fought and died honorably.